Welcome, everybody. Today we continue our Associa Gulf Coast educational series, and today's featured guest is Winnie Scherer from T&G Roofing Company. T&G Roofing obviously is a roofing company specializing in that discipline, but also has some other offshoots and ways that they can help their associations, our clients, and also anybody individually as well. So Winnie, if I could, welcome to the program. Please kind of not only introduce yourself, but give us kind of that overview of T&G Roofing.
Well, great. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here and be part of this meeting. We've been roofing for over 30 years. We're actually new to the Florida area, but we've been very experienced. We've been working now here in Florida since April, and we've gotten tons of good reviews on Google and a lot of customer referrals happening. And the reason, not only do we have a good company in California, but we're very experienced with customer service. As the owner of the company, you can always get a hold of me on my cell phone and reach me at any time. Nobody's ever called me at 2 in the morning, but that's a good thing because that means their roof isn't leaking.
That's a good point. Those 2 in the morning phone calls are never a good thing. That means something bad's happening.
Right. So ever since the cell phone was invented, I've given that out. Robin gives out his personal cell phone as well, so you can reach either of us. Robin's on the roof, so if any jobs are being done or there's any questions. And that's just a really good service point that people tell me doesn't happen in Florida very much, to have a company that's so service-oriented, with their customers. And that's from the very beginning to when you call to want an estimate or you have a question, to receiving the estimate from us, asking any questions. If, you want to meet with us, we'll drive out. We don't mind answering any other questions, even if it means having to go back a couple of times. We want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with us. And that's kind of our basic thing that sets us apart from other companies.
Completely makes sense. So when we're talking about roofing, now naturally, I like to believe that our managers and our board members, we're expected as managers to know a little bit about everything. We're supposed to be the experts in everything. And quite frankly, that's not fair, because I'll use you as an example. You will know more about roofing than we will ever know. And that's done by design. Our goal as managers is to get the right people in front of our boards so that they can make the best decisions. But when you're talking about roofing, naturally, roofing is only thought of when something's leaking, when something's going bad, but that's really not the case. How often, in your opinion, should roofs be I'm going to use the phrase, how often should they be looked at or inspected, if you will, to kind of head off any potential issues?
Well, that's a very good point, because in Florida, you have, as you know, the quote summer rain, and it's incredible rain. And so you really, if you have the older roofing systems, which would be torch or the modified bitumen roofs, you should be maintaining your roofs once a year, because the areas that you see the problems are the gutters get clogged. There's leaves on the roof that get into the gutters or get into the drains that clog the roof. If there's a little area, if the roof's been on, say, for 10 years, if you do a roof maintenance, you may be able to catch things before they're a problem. The unique thing also about our material is if we're there maintaining a roof, we can also give you an estimate so that you can put it into your budgeting process. We've done this for our customers in California all the time, because you're trying to decide when is the best time to do the roof. And oftentimes you don't know. So we can give you, we're not like magic, but we can say, we think you should do it in 2 years, or, we really think you should do it now. We pride ourselves in being very honest, and we want to service you. The good thing about this material is if you only have one layer of roofing on your roof, we can actually go over the existing roof. So by doing the maintenance, we can help, head off any potential problems, which is not good with this torrent of rain. That's the last thing you want, especially with clogged drains, because the damage that can occur from a simple thing that can be prevented is disastrous if you have like a clogged drain or even the gutters getting clogged. Because on a flat roof, the water will go right underneath the roofing system and, just pour right in.
You bring up a really good point about the product that you're talking about, flat roofs, those types of things. Me being, although I'm a licensed CAM, I'm going to call myself roof stupid, meaning I don't know a whole lot of things about roofs other than they keep us dry and they keep the sun out from hitting my bald head, if you will. But generally speaking, we all would recognize a barrel tile roof. We all would recognize a shingled roof, but that's really not what we're talking about in terms of TNG, correct?
Well, we do. We pride ourselves in our flat roofs, but we also are very good at doing shingle roofs. Matter of fact, being here in Florida, you have the rainy season. It's much easier to do a shingle roof in the rain. We've gotten very good, very carefully, working with getting shingle roofs still done when you have these rainy periods. With a flat roof, though, we need more time of no rain. So we also do both shingles and flat roofs, and we pride ourselves in both. Barrel roof is a little bit unusual because barrel roofs, just by the nature of their design, we do put TPO over a barreled roof, and it's a lot of times the older roofing systems, whether it be torch or modified bitumen, you will see that because it doesn't have the triangle slope. It has that kind of curved slope to it. I haven't seen a barrel roof too much for condominiums. That's usually for our commercial and our warehouse properties that have the barrel roof. But there could be a homeowners association that has a barrel roof. You never know.
Sure. Now, we also think that roofing projects can be giant undertakings, and rightfully so. I mean, you're dealing with the roof of a building. It's also one of the main components of the reserve pieces for associations, both condos and HOAs, that they do need to reserve monies on an annualized basis for that proverbial rainy day when the roof eventually will leak. And I say eventually because everything that man has built will fail, and roofs are no exception in that context. But when we're talking about if an association has their roof kind of maintained or kind of, I'm going to call it, looked at or inspected on an annualized basis, and the scuppers and the gutters are cleaned out, the roof is still going to need some repairs. But is it fair to say, or let me rephrase that, from a timing perspective, if a board wants their association roof looked at, what kind of timeline are we talking about from, say, start to finish of, hey, we want to look at it, to the first roofer guys, if you will, are actually on site? Could that be as long as 6 months to a year or as short as a couple of months?
We're pretty service oriented. So for just doing a basic inspection of a roof, we could probably get out there within a week to 2 weeks. In terms of somebody saying, hey, they want to have something done, our scheduling time, we're pretty fast. I'd say we could probably get to things within a month and a half to actually maintain and do the roof. And in Florida, it's the opposite from Los Angeles. I tell my guys in California, hey, we want to start having the maintenances being done in, June, July, August, September. That's a 4-month period. So that before the rains come in the winter, you've got things taken care of. You've got the leaves off the roof and you've got the gutters cleaned out. And we recommend it once a year, as you said. There are some properties we recommend doing it twice a year if your building has lots of trees around it, because of course leaves are disaster areas for roofs. And so we recommend that they do that twice a year. Now, you brought up a good point. Besides, quote, the maintenance being cleaning the gutters and checking everything, we also sometimes will notice things ahead of time that we can do, so that we can say to them, now, if you spend this much money on repairs, we can try to tweak the problem. Now, if we do repairs, we cannot obviously guarantee on a repair that the roof's never going to leak because it is a repair. But one of the things that we do that's unique is, let's say that we did some repairs on a roof, for an example. And let's say, of course, now in Florida, it has to be backwards. It would be in the winter where there's not a lot of rains that we would do the maintenance. So there's a little bit of time, probably a four-month window, I'd say, when it's not raining, that you could come and I could maintain the roofs, because you want to do that before the heavy rains. So while we're doing that, if we see some little things that we can repair, and we do that on a building, let's say, as an example, and then we get into the torrent of rain, let's say that you notice that it's leaking in one little area that we did a little repair. We will come back one more time for free and do a little bit more work in that area to see if we can handle the leak. And that's a unique thing that our company offers. So we come back a second time for free to try to help, handle any problems. The other unique thing that we offer, budgeting and reserves, we can give them an estimate to re-roof the roof also, so they have that for their budgeting purposes if we do the roof. But in addition to that, any repairs that we do, so I'll just throw out a hypothetical number. Let's say it was $500 and we did some repairs on the roof. If they decided 2 years, 3 years, a year, whenever, to re-roof the roof, we would give them $250 off the cost of the roof because they did the repairs. So that's like a little customer service that we offer back to the customer.
I understand completely. Now, roofing these projects can be gigantic. They can take a lot of time, but they also can really take a lot of the manager's time, and to a certain extent, the board of directors' time. We'd like to assume that vendors just like yourself can make the life of a manager and certainly the life of a board member easier when we're talking about not only the logistics of a project, but also the financing of the project, and to a certain extent the communication as the primary about what's going on during the project, both before, the during, and even the follow-up after. So can you talk a little bit about what does T&G do in terms of, you've already got the project, it's already been voted on, but now the guys are showing up on the roof, and let's talk about the communication, if you will, from T&G to the manager and T&G to the board.
Okay, so usually one person will be our contact point. Sometimes it's the maintenance person connected to the association. Some condos pick the president to be the person that we're in communication with, or occasionally it's the vice president. So whichever person is picked, and sometimes it's more than one, we then are very proactive in being very in good communication with this person. So we understand that they're going to want to let their, other members that own the, condo units know when we're coming. So we give them at least as a week's notice as we can. And if we're doing the job during the dry period, which is actually the ideal time to do the roof, you're not going to have problems with weather. If for some reason somebody wants to get a project done in the rainy period, depending on the roof, we can do smaller sections at a time. And then you might have an issue of one day we said we're going to come, but it's raining. But we're still in very good communication. That's one of our specialties. So if there was any reason that we couldn't start on a day that we said, we would make sure that that contact point knew. We also anticipate things that we need ahead of time that make everybody's life easier. If let's say that we're going to tear off the roof and we need to put a dumpster somewhere, we'll ascertain the best place to put it. We'll do a little diagram so the manager knows where it's going to be. We'll make it out of the way. We want to try to make it so that the owners of the different units are inconvenienced as little as possible. There may be a little bit of an inconvenience, but we try to make it as easy as possible for them. And also we designate places where we're going to be parking, our vehicles and stuff. When the material delivery comes to deliver the materials, it's the same thing. We want to be there when the material delivery comes, so it's very easy and straightforward. So it's as little inconvenience to the people as possible. While the job is going on, if there's any questions that any of the owners have, or, you know, God forbid anything should go a little awry, then they know that they can reach either myself or Robin, who's right there on the roof. So that's a huge advantage. And we're very, you know, customer oriented. That's where I said 2 in the morning. So I guess we must be doing good because we've never had those 2 in the morning calls. And in terms of, you like that, but it's true. It's a good point of our service. The other thing that we do is in terms of, financing of condos is very difficult. I've only found a couple that will do homeowners associations, so it's a little hard, you know, to do financing, but we work out a plan and we're in communication with them. So usually, depending on the project, we can divide the payment up by 4, we can divide it up by 2, we can divide it up by 3, and we're in communication, and we have all of the releases and everything that needs to go out. We don't take any deposit up front. We only want to take money when the materials are delivered on the roof and we're there working. And it all depends on the size of the job. If we're going to take 2 payments, we would take 50% when the materials arrived. If we were going to do 4 payments, we would base it on the percentage of the job that we completed. And we just work through when we finish the job. We give an opportunity for the president or the maintenance person to walk the job with us and tweak anything that they feel needs to be taken care of. And again, they can always reach us to fine tune anything that they need to talk to us about while we're doing the job. So like I say, we're very customer oriented. And sometimes I will, even before somebody calls us, I will call and go, hey, how is the job going along? Do you have any complaints? Do you have any questions? So I like to be as proactive as I can to just so that they know that we're staying in touch with them. And when the job is done, the first thing we care about is, hey, are you happy with what we did?
Right, and that absolutely makes sense. Now, managers are on property, whether it's a condominium or an HOA with a clubhouse or whatever it might be, but managers are on site more often than they're not. But quite frankly, we're not roofers. And the question really is there anything in particular that you as a roofing company are looking for when you're on site that a manager, when they're on site, could be looking for the exact same thing and kind of be aware, if you will, from a manager's perspective of, hey, I noticed this issue, or I noticed a discoloration, or whatever it might be. What does that mean, and what should I be looking for when it comes to I need to reach out to a roofer to come look at my roof? Is there anything in particular that you would say, hey, look at blank on your property, and that's something that needs to be addressed?
Well, there's a lot of different things that are very visual. I mean, for example, just from being outside of the roof, you're going to know if the gutters are a little tilted, or when it rains, the water isn't flowing right. It's going in the middle of the road, you know, the road or a sidewalk or whatever. That wouldn't be something that would be correct. If you have the type of roof that you have access to, a lot of HOAs from what I've seen are flat roofs. So you can actually get up on the roof and walk on it. It's not a problem. Then you can look discoloration. You're correct about that. Sometimes you can see that on the older roofing systems, it's called mastic. And every single penetration on the older roofing systems have mastic around them. So that would be the pipes, the air conditioners, and the vents. And you can tell that that mastic is cracked and or missing, depending on how long the roof's gone. And if that mastic is cracked, that means that when it rains, unless it's fixed, it will leak around that area, because that is the biggest negative to the 4-ply hot tar roofing system. Believe it or not, one of the reasons that we switched, because we were master applicators of the 4-ply roofing system. So we definitely know the things to look for. Discoloration, you can tell that the granules on the flat roof or gravel is off, you know, and that could be a problem. So we definitely are experts at maintaining things. But people need to maintain their roofs, because if they don't maintain their roofs, for example, in California, you could have 2 years of no rain. Well, they would get lazy and they wouldn't maintain their roofs. So guess what would happen if we had a year with a lot of rain where they didn't maintain? Every single time, even though the roof was less than 10 years old, the leaks would come from those areas that I talked to, around the pipes, around the vents, around the little discolored areas, things that with a little bit of maintenance, you could have prevented those problems. Now, why did we switch to single ply? And that is what I like. When we finish doing a single ply roof, all of those things that I described, the vents, the air conditioners, all do not have any mastic around them. If you look at our website, which I'll give you at the end, you will see an example of our roofs. And I like to say the pipes have like a little birthday hat on it, and it's a complete sealed system. So there is no way that water can leak underneath that, and they don't have to maintain the roof. So guess what? Since we switched in 2005 to doing only single ply roofs, we threw away our tar kettles. We said, you know what? If we owned a property, we don't like that roofing system. It's flawed. It has errors. We like that we can stand by this roof for 10 years and know that it's not going to be a problem. So we know what can be a problem. We can help fix it. But the best way to do it is eventually put on a single ply roof, which is starting to be more popular now. Believe it or not, 70% of new roofs now are being done with the TPO product, the single ply product I'm talking about.
I love it. Now, Winnie, you've given us an awful lot of stuff to think about, if you will, a lot of different things that go into roofing projects and all that kind of good stuff. But quite frankly, managers, we're good at a lot of things, but we're certainly not roofing professionals. And when it comes right down to it, you know, there's a manager, there's a board member, there might be a unit owner out there that's going to have a roofing issue, a roofing concern. So what's the easiest and most convenient way for those individuals, managers, unit owners, and board members? What's the easiest way, most convenient way for them to reach out to you directly?
Well, there would be 3 ways that they could do that. One, I have a toll-free number that I can give them, which is 1-833-352-8876. They can always call my personal cell phone, which is 818-269-1607. If they feel that they have an emergency or they feel like they're not able to reach me, like I say, we want to be very accessible. They can send me an email, which is Winnie, W-I-N-N-I-E, at tandroofing.com. And they can check out our website, which is, again, just the name of our company, tandroofing.com. And if they check out our website, they'll also be able to see examples of roofs that we've done. And because it is a newer roofing system, they'll actually be able to see a live video while they'll see our crew actually putting down the roof, until they'll get a concept of how that actually works. And I'm very happy to have, you know, had this discussion with you. And thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of the meeting. And I look forward to answering any more questions that anybody else will have. You know, just go ahead and give me a call. That's what we're here for.
Outstanding. Well, Winnie, again, thank you so much for your time. Lots of stuff to think about. Much continued success, not only for you personally, but your company. And for those of you listening to this session, feel free, if you have any questions regarding roofing, leaking, those types of things, feel free to reach out to Winnie. I'm certain she's going to help you in the best way possible. Winnie, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.